Hello BookTube! For this Tag Tuesday, I will be doing the Portland tag. This tag was created by Greg of Another Bibliophile Reads to celebrate his recent trip to Portland, Oregon. I will leave a link to his channel in the show notes down below, as well as a list of books mentioned. So the tag is composed of 5 prompts with some interesting facts about Portland as the inspiration for the prompt, which I will read out to you as well. Although there will be some wonkiness because I'm also going to have to keep my camera app on me. Otherwise, things might go down after a while, and that would be kind of annoying. So let's get going. Fact number 1. Portland is near the end of the Oregon Trail. The city grew rapidly in the mid-1800s because it was close to the trail's destination in the Willamette Valley. Nearby Oregon City is usually considered the official end of the Oregon Trail. Key historical points about Portland: founded in 1845, named after Portland, Maine after a coin toss, and it became a major shipping and timber port for the Pacific Northwest. The prompt: name a book about pioneers, timber, shipping, or one that features a coin toss that determines an important event. For this prompt, I'm going to go with a work of history, Dreams of El Dorado by H.W. Brands. Dreams of El Dorado is a history of the American West. An early chapter is about the American settling of the Oregon, the Willamette Valley, and is in Oregon in general. So I will go for that for my answer for this prompt. Fact number 2. Portland is known as the City of Roses and sometimes the City of Trees. 2 famous natural sites highlight this reputation. Forest Park is one of the largest urban forests in the United States, covering more than 5,000 acres within city limits. It has over 80 miles of trails, including the famous Wildwood Trail. It preserves a temperate rainforest ecosystem inside a major city, and locals often treat it as a backyard wilderness for hiking and trail running. The second prompt, or the prompt: name a book with a forest, roses, or flowers that are central to the story or subject. For this prompt, I'm going to go with Ducks, Newburyport by Lucy Ellman. While most of Ducks, Newburyport is a long sentence, that is just the tangential thoughts of the narrator, interspersed and effectively acting as chapter breaks is a more traditional narrative featuring a mountain lioness who is traveling around the Ohio, Pennsylvania, West Virginia area, who eventually goes on an extended search for her cubs, who were taken in by human hikers while they were during a storm. And so much of the lioness's story is told in the forests and regions of this area. Fact number 3. The legendary Powell's City of Books is often described as the largest independent bookstore in the world. Why readers love it. It occupies an entire city block, carries roughly 1 million new and used books, and uses color-coded rooms to organize subjects. Powell's is also one of my favorite bookstores. I routinely order books from there online. Usually I will have 1 or 2 orders a month. So yeah, I love pals deeply. It is one of my favorite bookstores. The prompt. Name a book that features books, reading, or bookstores as central to the story or subject. For this prompt, I'm going to go with Black Clover by Yuki Tabata. Black Clover is a manga series set in a fantasy world in which most of the population are capable of using magic, except for the main protagonist, Asta, who is the lone person in the whole world who cannot use magic. In this world, magic is focused through the usage of grimoires, magic books. And in the first chapter, all of the children in the village that Asta and his foster brother Yuno live in go to a temple or a church or library, basically, and receive their grimoires. At this point, Yuno receives a very auspicious grimoire because he has an incredible amount of magical power and really innate skill in magic. And Asta also receives a grimoire, a black one that gives him the ability to wield anti-magic swords. And so the two join the Magic Knights with the aspiration to become the Wizard King. Black Clover is one of my favorite manga series, and I cannot wait for the next volume to come out. Fact number 4. Keep Portland Weird is an informal slogan used in Portland to celebrate the city's reputation for independence, creativity, and unconventional culture. The idea encourages people to support local businesses instead of chains, embrace artistic and eccentric expression, and maintain Portland's quirky individualistic character. The slogan was popularized in the early 2000s by a local business owner inspired by the similar campaign in Austin where Keep Austin Weird had already become a cultural catchphrase and failed miserably. I'm not entirely sure Austin of 2026 has necessarily kept Austin weird. I also lived in Austin during this time, and it was, yeah. Anyway, let's get to the prompt. Name a book that features something weird that is central to the story or subject. For this, I'm going to go with Perdido Street Station by China Mieville. It is the first novel in the Boss Log trilogy and is an example of a literary genre called the New Weird, which harkens back to the origins of science fiction and fantasy and horror back in the early 20th century when all three genres were, in a way, part of a genre called the Weird. So Perdido Street Station takes place in the city-state of New Crobuzon. And it features a renegade scientist named Isaac, who is hired by a Garuda called Yagaric to come up with a way for him to fly. And Isaac uses all sorts of wild science to try to figure out a way to do this. And in his researches, he accidentally unleashes a monstrous moth that feeds on sentience. And he basically has to set aside his work for Yagaric to clean up his mess, while the government of New Crobuzon and a local mob boss are after him for their own purposes as well. Namely, the moths also produce a drug called dream shit. So, Perdido Street Station is a very weird novel. And finally, fact number 5. Portland is famous for coffee, craft beer, food carts, and strip clubs. The city's modern culture revolves around independent small businesses. It is often ranked among the top craft beer cities in the world and has a huge food cart scene, with hundreds of carts grouped in pods. Portland also has a strong coffee culture, with many independent roasters and cafes. In addition, it has long been known for having more strip clubs per capita than most major U.S. cities. The prompt: name a book that features coffee, beer, food carts, strippers, or small businesses as central to the story or subject. For this prompt, I'm going to go with The Spell by Alan Hollinghurst. The Spell is Hollinghurst's third novel and is a departure from his previous work in that the story is an ensemble piece and told in the third person. The Spell is about 4 gay men. Robin, who is, as when the novel is set in 1995, is 46 years old. He is an architect that never quite reached his full potential, and he basically does historical renovations. He is passing his prime, but he's still a silver fox who occasionally likes to run around with little clothes on. Robin's lover is Justin, a 34-year-old former aspiring actor who gets by on his inheritance and also his lovers. Justin is a troll, an unfaithful troll. Alex was Justin's previous lover. He's slightly older at 36. He works in the Foreign Office and starts the novel off very uptight. He is noted for falling in love easily and passionately, perhaps smotheringly. The fourth main character is Robin's son from a heterosexual relationship decades earlier, the 22, although early in the novel he turns 23-year-old Danny, who works a series of menial jobs to just get by. His natural environment is the 1990s gay club scene. He is rather promiscuous and is a casual drug user. Over the course of the novel, all 4 men change in their relationships to each other. All of them get changed. Alex's relationship to Danny sort of loosens him up. He becomes less uptight. The relationship between Robin and Justin is renegotiated, and there is copious amounts of beer. Justin is certainly an alcoholic, but all 4 of them drink beer quite a bit. And many of them run around with very little clothes on at certain points in the novel, especially at a gay club. So I think that works for this prompt. Anyway, that was the Portland tag. If you would like to do this tag, consider yourselves tagged. Anyway, BookTube, I will see you tomorrow for the next part of my 2026 library tour. So until then, thank you and have a great afternoon.